They told us Mars was dead. A cold world, a silent world, a planet whose heart had stopped beating billions of years ago. But Olympus Mons never felt dead. It stood taller than any mountain humanity had ever known. So vast, it bent the horizon. So ancient, it felt less like stone and more like memory. Not a landmark, a presence, a shadow that never moved, even as the stars did. The instruments were the first to notice. Seismic rhythms where there should have been none. Static patterns that repeated like signals. A pulse beneath the crust. Steady, patient, unmistakably deliberate. The council called it a natural abnormality, but some of us heard it at night, beneath the howl of Martian dust storms, beneath the hum of life support systems. There was something else, a low murmur rising from the ground itself. Not random, not mechanical, like breathing. When the order came to drill into Olympus Mons, the crew understood the truth immediately. We weren't being sent to discover something. We were being invited. And whatever waited beneath that mountain had been waiting a very long time. They dug too deep, and what they found wasn't meant for them. Nobody wanted to drill Olympus Mons. The mountain was too large, unstable, and ancient. A dead volcano taller than any mountain on Earth. Its flanks extended hundreds of miles across the Martian plain. It loomed in every sight, a presence rather than a landmark, a static shadow against the stars. However, the colony's instruments would not cease screeching. Seismic readings that did not correspond with fault lines. Rhythms embedded in the stone, pulsating like a heartbeat. When the sun flared, waves of static rumbled across Teslab's array, as if the mountain itself was broadcasting. The council described it as a natural abnormality. Sandy didn't believe it, because late at night, when dust storms blew across the ecosystem, she swears she heard it. A low murmur rises from the ground. The sound was too steady and methodical, like a breath. When the order to drill arrived, Sandy's stomach sank. She wasn't terrified of what they wouldn't find, but rather because she knew something was waiting. It was not rock beneath the dust. It was space, the chamber, stretched into darkness, with the ceiling arching higher than their lights could reach. Air shimmered about them, inconceivable on Mars, but Sandy's meters flickered. Oxygen, nitrogen, and trace carbon dioxide, an atmosphere when none should exist. The cold struck next. A rapid drop left frost on their visors. Their boots crunched on powdery dust that glistened like shattered bone. And beneath it all is the hum. Low, steady, living. Sandy's skin prickled more as they traveled deeper. It wasn't only vibration. It was in syllables. She almost understood the sound, which resembled words. Then came the scent, not dust, not stone, but copper, iron, and blood. David gagged within his helmet. "There's nothing alive here." Cynthia shook her head slowly. Alive isn't the same as empty. Marco's boot struck something delicate. The sound of the crunch echoed like a gunshot. He pointed the beam of his light downward. Bones. Instead of being dispersed randomly, things are organized. Skulls were arranged as if they were offerings. Rib cages were stacked like kindling, and everything was spread out in spirals and circles. There were a few human remains among them. Their jaws were shattered, and their teeth crushed. This was not the case for all of the dead. Some bones were not of human nature. One of these was a skull that was as long as his arm, and its fangs were spiraling inward. There was another whose eye sockets were too big and too numerous. A rib cage that has been divided into 3 separate cages, which are then piled on top of each other. Several hands that had too many fingers lay in a pile near the elongated skull. Cynthia got down on her knees and started wiping the dust off a femur. She flinched. This cut is perfectly clean. Someone purposefully broke these. Sandy was focused on the patterns in the arrangement. They resembled the glyphs painted on the wall, letters and words. The sentence appeared almost unreadable. The microphone of her suit picked up a barely audible sound, a faint whisper. Not from outside, not communications. It was her name. Sandy left by daybreak. Her bunk was nice. Her boots were gone. The airlock logs showed no alarms or breaches. Only one door opened throughout the night. Outside, a solitary track of footsteps led back into the cavern. David muttered quietly, his voice shaking. She didn't even suit up. Then Cynthia's communication device cracked. It was not static, nor was it feedback. It was a voice. "Sandy?" Cynthia whispered. The reply was stretched and distorted. It was Sandy's voice. "We have gone so far already. We must push deeper. Don't you hear it?" Marco's screen flashed up. Each system in the habitat displayed a single word: welcome. They sealed the cavern with fire, melting steel and pouring thermite till the rock gleamed. They prayed that it would hold, but at night, when the dust storms howled across the dome, Cynthia claimed she could still hear it. David attempted to comfort her, but soon he too heard it. It always started the same. A quiet buzz at first, which came from the walls of the station. Next, a rhythm that circled the very inside of your soul. It was the mountain that breathed again. Olympus Mons wasn't simply a mountain. It was a scar, a mouth, a memory, and it was calling. Let me ask you something. When they told you Mars was empty, did you believe them? When the instruments screamed and the council said abnormality, would you have stopped? Or would you have drilled deeper? Do you think Sandy walked into the mountain because she was taken, or because she finally understood what was being said to her? Another question: if a place remembers every footstep, every breath, every name spoken aloud, what happens when you hear it whisper yours? Let the silence stretch. Tell me, if a mountain was breathing beneath your feet, would you seal it away? Or would you listen? Because Olympus Mons is still there, waiting. And now that you've heard this, do you really think it isn't listening back? Our next story will be something in Solus Planum. The colony, which was supposed to be empty, now has something or someone messing with the crew.